Welcome everybody, I'm Shadow Witch, and welcome to my circle. This is part 2 of setting up an altar and what to do with all of the bits and pieces. So, to start off with, there's one thing I want to discuss. I have been kind of perusing various social media sites and trying to get familiar with what new witches on the path are encountering. I have not really been up on social media. I don't read modern books published by new pagans or witches. I really am doing my own thing. I write my own spells. I write my own rituals. I don't really get a lot of information from people publishing stuff today. So I haven't really been up on things in the last several hundred years. So trying to catch up with what people are being exposed to is very enlightening. And I just wanted to start by touching on one thing. The concept or the term for adults stepping onto the path. We call it coming out of the closet, you know, when you start to talk to others about your interest in the world of the witch, becoming a witch, learning. And there's a term called baby witches I've come across a number of times. A number of people who are quite adult have come up to me saying, well, I'm a baby witch, kind of like indicating they're new to the path. No. Imagine you're going to college and you were learning engineering or to become a physician, to become a teacher, any higher level of learning. And this is the craft of the wise. You're not a baby at all, unless, like the lovely lady Michelle, who helps me, you know, with the videos, and her new grandchild, who is a legit baby. You're not a baby. Be very careful. The path we follow has been orchestrated, has been subverted, has been infiltrated by those trying to denigrate us, trying to put us down in various ways. It's very subtle sometimes. For instance, the term coven. I don't use the term coven. It was created by the early witch hunters who had a misunderstanding about witches or wise women, cunning women or men, herb women or men. The new church was out there trying to convert people, trying to eliminate those that followed the old ways, the matriarchal ways, those that believed in goddess worship, and wanted to associate those that they felt were doing evil deeds by having a covenant with Satan. And the term coven was developed from that. I'm not going to call any group I belong to by a name that was stamped on us by witch hunters. So I use the term tribe when we get together. Groups I've been involved with in the past, we use the term tribe. I like it much better. But you call your group whatever you're comfortable with. Getting back to what I'm talking about here, if you want to get information about how to cast a circle, or just to have on your bookshelf an amazing book that was published, I mean, my goodness, I've had a copy of this forever. I believe the first copyright of this was 1981. Yeah, I believe that. Way back when. And it's A Witch's Bible. A Witch's Bible, the complete Witch's Handbook, authored by Janet Ann Stewart Farah. You can still get this in print. It's so great to have it in your hands. I'm sure it's on Kindle or something, but having it in your hands is amazing. It has every ritual, every Sabbath. It has the history. It talks about so much. And you don't have to follow every single thing it has in here. You know, it just having it for reference, having it for the knowledge, having it for the history and understanding some of where we come from and those who actually carved the path in stone that we follow today is really important to know. So, A Witch's Bible, highly, highly, highly recommend it. Easily purchased from any witch shop or off the web, by all means. Now, Altar Pentacle. Talked about this in the last video. What does it mean? No, it is not evil. And those such as satanic groups that choose to use it upside down, personally, I wish they would just get an imagination and, come up with their own symbol. We don't tend to use inverted pentacles in the United States. It is used in a second degree initiation in the Gardnerian tradition. I believe in Great Britain, at least it used to be. It was a completely harmless symbol until it was bastardized, I guess is the right term, by a group in California back in the 70s. So we don't tend to use the inverted pentacle, but what it stands for us, we have the 5 pointed star in the middle, the pentagram, surrounded by the circle. And we have the horizon line, earth, air, fire, water, or earth, air, fire, water, or earth, air, fire, water. It doesn't matter. It's topped by spirit. And when I say it doesn't matter, this is really a 2-dimensional shape, and I'll show you why. We work in a 3-dimensional sphere. Actually, it's more like, I want to say 6 dimensions, but that's a whole nother, getting into quantum. Imagine the earth, air, fire, water, and this is a crude diagram that I just drew, but it's the 4 points, earth, air, fire, water, and it's spinning around like this. It's not stable. It's not just stuck here in the north. They're constantly moving, and spirit is here. And now I hear the question, what do you mean north is constantly moving? North is there. Well, yeah, north is there until you go, say 100, say you go, even 50 feet toward the north, and then all of a sudden north is south. And so nothing is actually where you think it is. I mean, right where I am sitting here could be west for somebody until they happen to go in another direction, and then I could be east of somebody else. Don't get hung up. The elements are there. The directions are there. Spirit is always above us. And the reason this is important to us is we use this to designate that we always try to put spirit above the physical. We do need to have a roof over our heads. We do need to have clothing and warmth and food and all of that to keep the physical safe and protected and fed and all of that. But we try to put the spiritual above the physical if at all possible. It is also said that this represents the God surrounded by the circle, which is representative of the goddess. We could go on and on and on. I'm surprised there aren't just volumes written about the pentacle. So, but what's nice about it is you really don't have to consecrate or bless or all that kind of stuff. You could just put an object on it, and by its very shape and symbol, whatever you put on it has been consecrated. So, now with the incense, you can make up incense on your own. If you don't have any, if you're going to use incense to cast your circle, you're going to want to take several sticks to really get enough to make enough smoke to cast your circle. Then we have, of course, the charcoal, which we put the powdered incense on to walk around the circle. Important, always going diacetyl. When we go around with the water mixed with the salt, we sprinkle going in a diacetyl motion. Diacetyl is Gaelic, the Irish and the Scottish Gaelic, which stands for right, which means you are moving in a clockwise motion. Now, and when I say clockwise or sunwise motion, when you turn right, you're moving in the direction of the sun. And having said that, if you're not familiar with this kind of clock, I don't know what future generations are going to do. Hopefully they'll keep making these clocks, but this is what indicates clockwise. And then we had Widdershins, which is anti-clockwise, also Gaelic, but more specific to the Lowland Scots or the Tuatha Scottish Gaelic. There, I actually was referencing that, wanted to make sure I had my specifics correct, and I saw that it said both Irish and Scottish Gaelic, but there's more than just Irish and Scottish Gaelic. I'm pretty sure there's Welsh Gaelic, and there's a number of distinct Gaelic languages, or dialects, I should say, in different parts of Great Britain. So we have, of course, our lovely little cast iron cauldron, and we put sand in it. And then the charcoal, we talked about lighting that earlier. We put a little bit of the incense. What's interesting about this is we use this the same way that the churches and other temples or mosques or other places, I shouldn't say, I don't know if mosques or temples or synagogues use incense. I know at one time they were reputed to, but when we use an incense, it is to raise the vibrations in the room. Humans, surprisingly enough, have a way of really lowering vibrations. We can bring things down. So the incense raises the vibration and makes a room lighter, ready for ritual or magical work. The blessed water or the salted water actually cleanses, and not cleaning like scrubbing, with soap and water, but cleanses unwanted energies away. There's a few different ways of saying it, so maybe almost like a consecration of cleansing. So we go around once with the blessed water, we go around once with the incense on the charcoal, then we go around and light the candles and invoke the watchtowers, and you have cast your circle. Well, after that, then we go around 3 times with a metal blade, either your athame or your sword, and you cast the circle, and it's sealed. In conclusion, it is important to know that when we open the circle, we are opening the circle. We're not closing the circle. A lot of people have written that. I've read that in books in various places. I've seen it on videos. We cast the circle, then we close the circle. Let's discuss the physics of what we're doing. When we cast a circle, we're creating something. It's like we're building a room. So we're building this room. And when we go around with the sword or the athame 3 times, we're sealing that room. We're sealing that circle. Actually, we're closing it, so nothing harmful can come in. So we're protected. So our work is intensified. And when we're finished, how do you leave a closed room? You certainly don't close the door and lock it. You're not going to get out. You open it and you exit. Myself, along with some other elders I've been in contact with, who are also putting out videos and workshops, and we're going to start trying to utilize the internet in a positive way. There's far too much, I think we're all in agreement, there's far too much misinformation being put out there, like baby witches and closing circles, and it just, there's too many individuals out there for whatever reason, and I'm not going to pretend I understand what is motivating them, that are dumbing it down. This is the craft of the wise. If you are smart enough to start practicing and studying and interested enough to learn, there's absolutely no reason that you can't be told the proper terminology, how we use it, why it's used, and how it will benefit you. To dumb it down is not benefiting you, nor is it benefiting the craft, nor is it benefiting anyone. So Don't let anybody do that to you. Don't call yourself a baby witch. You're not. Don't just follow somebody just because, you know, they tell you it must be done this way, or even worse, somebody that tells you you are not ready to hear the answer to this yet. I have found, like in any college course, when you are learning something, you might need to review it several times before it sinks in, but when you're ready for it, you're ready for it. And when you're not, it'll just go over your head, and that's okay. But for somebody to say, I cannot tell you that, I can't answer that question because you are not ready for it yet, there's a power trip going on there, and it's not with you, okay? You're ready for whatever you're ready for when you're ready for it. For example, I just saw the other day on the news, it was amazing. There was this, the youngest student ever, young person ever accepted into medical school, and I want to say she was, I don't know, could she possibly have been 9? I think she was like 9 or 10. It was, what? It was like, it was amazing. She was just maybe 11. She was really young. Is that possible? But how amazing. I mean, not holding typical standards. You pass the test, you know the material good enough to hang with everybody else, good for you. I was so impressed. I'm going to take that back. I think she was 13. Still majorly impressive. And good for her. So when you're ready for it, you're ready for it. Don't let anybody tell you you're not. And practice. Start practicing. You don't have to have $1 million or hundreds of dollars worth of equipment and tools. The ancient witch didn't have any of this. He or she just had that magic inside and started gathering herbs and tools and made a lot of the stuff themselves and just started practicing magic. Again, if you can manifest your desire, then you're on the right path. If not, well, we'll keep working at it until you do start manifesting things. So, this is Shadow Witch. Thank you for visiting my circle. And please, if there's any questions that you would like to know about your altar, some questions about maybe what to put on your altar or things not to put on your altar, any questions, please leave them in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Blessings. Now I have to do this because Michelle's with her baby. Thanks, guys. Blessings.